you in terms of getting the word out, and what have you struggled with?
I mean, it works for me to post on Facebook and just like be a cheerleader for things. But as far as like, if it generates actual interest and people showing up to event, I don't know, because most of the events I've done are principality or other events that have people that inherently are joining. So I can't speak to how well it actually got the information out. But as far as how I like to communicate, I like to do Facebook basically like reminders and like make sure people know there's a schedule. I'm like big on schedules now. Like having a schedule of the day as an attendee makes me happy so that I know when things are going on and what I can have time for, and I can plan out my event, especially if I know there's things I'm interested in. And I like making schedules for other people for the same reason.
Yeah. So when you've done principality events, did you find that it was easy to get officer responses, or did you find that you didn't get much?
It really depends on the officer.
Yeah.
And I think that's more just like interpersonal. Some people are good at, and I always do things a personal message to each person, like you were talking about before. I don't try to do group messages because people don't or if you send out a group message, all you get is a bunch of thumbs ups or heart emojis on the thing you posted instead of responses. But if you actually send a message to someone, usually if there's actually something they need to respond to, they're going to give you a response, versus in a group setting where people just are like, yeah, sure, I read it, here's my acknowledgement of reading it, and then don't actually give you the information you need.
The other trick I have is actually something I've picked up from work. If you are not getting responses from people to an open-ended thing, some people get afraid of the blank page, and the idea of coming up with a response just kind of freezes them in place. But I do sometimes find that if I type out sort of what I think they're going to want, and I say, hey, how about, do you need this, this, and this at this time? For example, messaging with the marshal in charge of a tournament. Hey, I assume you want to have your marshals meeting at 9, armor inspection runs till about 10:30, and invocation to follow. And then just ask for a yes or no. I've also had for stuff where it's sort of that pattern, that set pattern and those big pieces you're trying to get initially. Sometimes I've had better luck with using that as an approach than a general, hey, do you want to do anything at this event? Hopefully that'll help someone.
Yeah, the schedule the same. Like I started with the previous, so like investiture, I helped with the schedule for that. So we started with where the previous times, and then we tweaked them to work for what we had going on. Because when I just asked, like, what time do you want this stuff to happen? They're like, oh, I don't know. So having a starting place helped a lot.
Yep. Yeah. One of the things that I'm hoping to get to with the templates, and we've been able to do this a little bit with some of the stuff that's coming up with Miss Coronets. We've had several Miss Coronets in the row use the same template. And so they're able to take, hey, here's what the schedule is when we did this 6 months ago, to go from there. My hope is we can get some of these things more prevalent. Our stewards won't have to be starting from scratch each time, and they can tweak and they can change, but for the big events that occur regularly, some of this stuff really does have a pretty set pattern. And then you've got that already existing language, which will make life hopefully a little more streamlined, both for the officers and for the event stewards.